Hi, everyone. I'm Avni Jain. I'm an AI/ML solutions consultant at Snowflake, and today I'll be talking about Document AI. Document AI is a Snowflake feature that uses an LLM to extract data from documents of various formats. You can essentially use it to turn any unstructured data from documents into structured data in the form of tables. You can also create pipelines for continuous batch processing of new documents. And essentially, since it's so user friendly, it's really built for business users to be able to easily automate the document extraction process. Snowflake provides a user-friendly UI to train models on documents of the same type. So essentially, you want to create one model for one type of document or use case for the best results. Document AI also allows you to create several versions of your model within the UI, so you can go back and forth between different models when you're extracting values. Now I'll go over the high-level Doc AI processing pipeline before I get into the individual steps. So first, you'll be working in the Document AI user interface. So you'll create a model build and then upload any of your documents that you want to train into that model build. And then what you'll do is you'll start creating a list of questions that you want to ask the document. When you're asking these questions, Document AI will automatically populate values, and it's up to you to, agree saying the value is correct or type in the correct value. And this is actually the training process. So essentially, you're going through each of these documents, and it's very simple to just, agree or disagree with what the question answers are. And once you're at a good spot with the training, you can publish the model. So this is kind of an iterative process to get the best results. Next, you'll go on to Snowflake worksheets where you'll be running the extraction query. And this will essentially run the model on all of the documents you have and extract all of the values that you're looking for. Next, this is optional, but you can create an automated processing pipeline that will, go through several documents or however many documents you have and automatically be able to extract values. Now I'll discuss the individual steps required to build out a document AI model. So the first step is to set up any sort of required objects or privileges that you'll need. First, you'll start with the database schema and role creation process. So we recommend creating a database in schema specifically for Doc AI. And then what you'll do is create a custom role, which is Doc AI role in the document AI model build. And this will help with the processing pipeline that you'll do later. Next, you'll grant any sort of required privileges to work with Document AI. So you'll want to grant the document intelligence creator to the role that we just created. You'll also grant usage, operate on your warehouse, grant some of the required privileges, grant create stage on the schema that we just built. Additionally, you'll want to grant create Snowflake ML document intelligence on the schema, as well as grant create model. And then if you're doing a processing pipeline, you'll want to make sure you're able to have a stream, create table, create task, create view on your schema, and also execute task. And lastly, you'll grant the Doc AI role to the user. So you can refer back to this later for exactly what you're doing, but there are several pre-steps that you'll want to do. Next, the second step is to prepare the document AI build model. So first, what you'll do is go into document AI model in Snowsight. So that'll be in AI/ML, then document AI. You'll select a warehouse, select plus build. So this will create your build. And next, once you have that build, what you'll want to do is upload any documents you have. So if, in order to upload the documents, you'll want them on your local file system. So you can just hit upload. And once all of your documents are in here, you're ready to start training your model. So the first step to training your model is to define any sort of data values you have and review the results. So first you'll hit define values here in values to extract, and then you'll essentially be given the option to add in whatever questions or values you want to extract. And the way you do that is you enter in pair values. So you first have like the title of the question. So in this example, it's inspection date, and then the actual question. So what is the inspection date? Typically, you want the questions to be, short, concise, but specific. So get to the point, don't have anything additional, but make sure, it can't get confused with any other questions or values in the document. So still be specific enough where it's able to do that. Once you have your data values in questions, you're going to review the answers that the model will automatically populate. And if the answer is correct, you'll select a check mark. And if the answer is incorrect, you'll enter the correct value manually. So that'll be it for one document. And then you can continue on for, several other documents as your training data set. The more you train, the better your results will be, but it really depends on your use case and what kind of accuracy you're looking for. The fourth step is to publish the model and extract results. So, in order to publish the model, you'll go to the Build Details tab and under Model Accuracy, select Public Version. In the dialog that appears, you'll select Publish to confirm. So, once you publish your model, this will take a little bit of time to, really train your model and prepare the model that you have. And it really depends on the number of documents, but we'll get into that later. But once the model is published, you can then choose to create a document processing pipeline. So this pipeline will allow you to extract values from your documents on a schedule so that it's able to efficiently get all of the values you need and put them into a table. This is a little bit more information on how long it takes the model to train. So, as I mentioned, it really varies depending on the number of pages in each document and the number of documents. So, the following list I've provided is for a batch of 20 documents, which is the minimum number required for training. But essentially, you can see that as you increase the number of pages in each document, the training time will also increase. So, generally, what we say is that when you double the number of values or the number of documents, you'll double the amount of training time. But the maximum training time is 48 hours. So if you're getting to a point where you're exceeding that time, I would recommend splitting it up into several different models. Here are some of the document AI best practices. So, with any model that you have, it's important to follow best practices in order to get the best possible results. So, when we're talking about how to optimize your questions for extracting information with Document AI, we recommend using plain English. And for each question, make sure you know what answers you expect. So, have that be something that is specific and consistent across all of your documents. Um, Also, let's say you have a date column or something that there might be multiple of, make sure you're specific enough where it knows what date to pull. So, for example, if you have an issuing date and a specific date, don't just ask what is the date without including additional details. Also, another point is that you want to ask for a single value in each question. So, you really want to split up your questions in terms of granularity to make sure you're not asking for too much information just in one question. Lastly, Document AI doesn't necessarily have extended knowledge in whatever domain of documents you have. So make sure that you're specific with what you're asking and don't expect it to guess your intentions with your question. Document AI also allows for table extraction. So here are some best practices for specifically two tables, what you should be following. So first, you want to only use one model build for both entity and table extraction. Additionally, only use one model build for a specific type of document. So similar to just normal document extraction, you don't want to have too many types of documents in one model. Additionally, define the columns in the same order they appear in the document. This just makes it easier for the Doc AI model to process each document. Additionally, when you define values using casing from the document, it tends to do better. So if it's all caps, all lowercase, or a mix, make sure you're indicating that in your question. If you have larger tables that span several different pages, I'd recommend splitting the document up into different documents so that it's able to better read the results. You should also create names for columns that don't have names in the document. Transpose the tables when needed. So in this case, you'll see that there's item one, item two under type A. So just transposing the table will give you better results. Also, use the parent names as a prefix when working with the hierarchy. So here we have category A, and under that there's X and Y with multiple columns. So providing it in a format like this will give you the best results. With any document AI model that you build, it's important to be aware of what limitations there are prior to building it. So there are a number of languages that Doc AI supports, but just make sure it covers one of these. So English, Spanish, French, German, Portuguese, Italian, and Polish. We also have some specifications regarding formats and sizes. So I would refer to the documentation to make sure that your documents fit those specifications prior to starting. Document AI can also process a maximum of 1,000 documents in one query. You can only have one user working on the same model at a time. There are some specific regions in which Document AI is available, so just make sure that it's available in your region prior to starting. There's also some specifications regarding the number of tokens that are allowed. So in this case, it's around 320 words or 512 questions, 512 tokens for the answers. Additionally, Document AI supports using server-side encryption only. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any additional questions, feel free to refer to the Snowflake documentation.